Hi everyone. I am going to do a short video for you to help prepare for your final project next week and the virtual poster session. I'm really sorry I had to cancel class with the flooding that's out there and the warnings. It's safer not to. Plus, I also have a flood in my own basement, as you maybe saw in the email. So I will kind of go over the resources that are available online and the guidelines so that you are aware of those and you can be working on those tonight and do your workshop at home. You can certainly email me with questions as well. It just may be a little bit to get back to you. There's a lot of water. It's coming in through the foundation in several areas. And so there's quite a bit to do, and hopefully we don't get more rain coming. So anyway, I will get to it here. So I'm going to share my screen and get over to Moodle. All right, so on tonight's page here, so when we were going to do the workshop in class, so now please take the time and do this at home. So I encourage you to use the time tonight to do that and get started and not wait till the night before. So for your final project, you're going to create a scientific poster, a abstract to go with that poster of no more than 200 words, and then you'll put that together in a short 2 to 3 minute Flipgrid video. So online, got different resources here. First off, got one for writing your abstract. So just pull this up. I'm not going to go over all of these in detail, but it really helps you to put these together. But for your abstract, these are just the key. Keep in mind the key process elements. So I've kind of bolded them out here. You want to make sure and include these items, and also the rubric kind of highlights what to include. So that abstract is 200 words or less. That's what the Virginia Public Health Association requires. I think the Student Scholar Showcase is 250, so I used the lower number for you. But really, it's the key points. So when you have a full lit review, the biggest tip is to kind of, I always do this, is the cut and paste method and start with more, and you can always scale back and get a little bit from each section for that. So you haven't written your methods section yet, so you will include that in briefly in this as well. But if you use that cut and paste method, taking a sentence or two from your significance and your background, that purpose thesis statement, a sentence from each of your sections and recommendations and conclusions, and then work with that. You can come up with a good abstract, and shouldn't take you terribly long to do that. So sorry, I didn't pull that up, but again, this is here for you for some tips. There's lots of stuff online as well for you. So I also put a short video for scientific poster tips, for design tips. You can also Google them. There's a lot out there. There's several different videos. And then I've also included past examples. Now, these weren't with the EPA's process that you did, but it's similar in terms of design. And so you can choose to, so I'm going to pull up this first one here. I have provided the templates that you know of on Moodle for your scientific posters. So this was an actual study that was done by students. So you may choose to do your scientific poster similar to the EPA process, which the template has. Or you may decide to organize it a little bit more like this. So your results section may be more of that EPA process here, and you can treat it as that. So you do have a little bit of flexibility in how you want to organize this in terms of using headers that are more similar to a traditional scientific poster, or if you want to do it's more similar to the template that is on Moodle. So the template that I provided is just like the example I just showed you, but I threw in some of the EPA's process. And you can redo your headers. Now, I just want to put in EPA process to remind you to kind of include that in your methods, but you do not need to have that in the actual header. So you can remove that for that. If you are looking and you didn't have any images or graphs or tables that you found in your research, an appropriate one, you could use the EPA process flow image chart they have. That would be something you could maybe find an appropriate place for to put on the poster, just if as an idea. The other example, you can use either one of these. If you want to use something else, you certainly can, but I would recommend keeping it to the colors of our university and using our logo just for ease of using it again. So if you've done one in the past and have a template, or you find something else online you want to use, you can certainly do that. These are just here to kind of make it easier for you. It's the end of the semester and they're organized there for you. So use these resources here. So you've got the 2 examples and some tips. I also threw on this tips for the references section because I do want you to try to get 10 on there. It is a lot. So you can really use smaller font than the rest of your poster. So just, again, use smaller font. And then here's a little tip for a way of abbreviating your references if you want to do something like that. So that's sort of the abstract and the scientific poster for you. So these are due by 5:15 p.m. of next week prior to the virtual poster session, which is going to start right at 5:30 p.m., which would have been the final exam period. So going into the virtual poster session here, you will, so I've got the grading rubric on the previous page, but then I also have it here. So actually, before I go into the poster session, the grading rubric is here. And so use this as well when you're developing your materials. So the scientific poster, everything is worth 100 points. The poster, the abstract, the video, and then your engagement in the actual poster session that we're going to have. So the scientific poster is 55 points, so you can look through. Methods is a little bit more because that has not been something that was on your website, so it's going to take another, but it should only be a few sentences, short paragraph, clear description. So I even kind of gave you some things to make sure you address. The process, databases that you use, keywords, and limitations. Limitations could be years how far you went back, English language, that type of thing. So I'm looking at the lit review, looking at the findings, results, and analysis. So the analysis is really that risk characterization section. That you've used figures, tables, and images appropriately. So definitely look at the video. You don't want, content is important, but you do want to have an image or two, or a table or two, graph to make it really visually appealing. So, and then you can have the conclusion and discussion, making sure you address the risk management and public health recommendations, and then overall that it's effective and organized. I will say, so with scientific posters, they read from left to right, which you'll see in the video and on the examples. But oftentimes in a real poster session, I don't, if many of you have been to one, but people will just walk by the posters and very quickly, we call them kind of drive-bys. So they're driving by your poster, and what is going to catch their attention and stop and ask you about your research. So making things really aesthetically pleasing, organized, that it flows is really important. Then the presentation and poster session is going to be 24 points. That's, posting your Flipgrid video. It's in the 2 to 3 minute time frame. It's clear, concise, and comprehensive. And then it also is part of your engagement. So you'll be providing comments and questions to at least 5 different peers during this session. And then you're going to be responding to those peers during this session. And so that's where that's graded. I will do a brief introduction and a brief closing at the start and the finish. So those are the points for that. And then your abstract is 21 points. The abstract is what gets the poster accepted. It gets you accepted into the conference. So I wanted to weight that enough to do that. So again, no more than 200 words. It's on time, it flows, it's in correct APA. And then here for content, you're really looking to have that purpose statement, includes the methods, provides substantial details, findings of supporting the topic, and then also addresses risk management and public health recommendations. So again, use the tip sheet for abstracts for that, and that will be really, really helpful for you. So I see I have it here. I'll make things a little bit more clear as well, and I'll send a reminder email next week about the virtual poster session. But I have this set up here, so you can see an in-person. I'll move myself here. You can see what it would like to be an actual poster session. You would print these out on really big sheets of paper. They tell you exactly how big they need to be, and people will walk by and engage with you on your posters. So conferences since COVID-19 have been doing different ways of the virtual poster session online. Some have had you do a 5-minute video and chatted with respondents. I am on the board for the Virginia Public Health Association, and what we're going to do, and it's something I participated in a conference a few weeks ago, and they did it, is that there will be about an hour. The posters will be available for people to look at and read through, and then there'll be an hour where you'll be on a live Zoom link, and people can click on the link and then engage with you and ask you questions. And there are cash prizes for that conference, so it's there'll be judges that also pop in and out for that. So you will post your 2 to 3 minute, you'll see here, you'll provide that 2 to 3 minute overview here by 5:15, and what you're responding to is really this. Tell me about your research and your findings. So those drive-by people, some people won't even pay any attention. They won't read anything, and they won't come up with a question. They're just going to come to you and be like, tell me about your research. Tell me about what you found out. So in 2 to 3 minutes, that overview, think of that too, and how you would respond to that. That's happened. That's a common way people will approach you. So I hope this makes you feel comfortable with what is coming up for the final, and it's not too overwhelming. You've got the templates and the resources. Please email me if you have questions on things, but you should have most of the content. It's just repackaging things for this type of dissemination. Okay, so you will submit your poster and abstract here to Moodle, and then you'll submit your Flipgrid video here. So these are, and I'll add them by 5:15, and then at 5:30, what I'll be doing is adding another link here for the virtual poster session, but again, I'll send you an email next Wednesday reminding you. It'll start with a short introduction with me, and then we'll facilitate the virtual session. And so I'm anticipating maybe 90 minutes total. I want it to be as real world as possible, and so looking at about trying to get an hour in for the virtual session. But I do also want to give everybody enough time. We technically have 3 hours. I don't think it'll take the 3 hours, but probably 90 minutes to 2 hours for the final exam period. So please reach out if you have any questions. Stay safe during this flooding and all the rain. And I hope you're not getting the water in your homes that I am seeing. But I look forward to seeing your videos and your everything, your abstracts, your projects. I'm going through the websites right now. I like what I'm seeing, but I still have more to do. And now with the flooding, it's kind of pushed things back a little bit, but you can expect to see those grades, I hope by early next week now. So thank you. And we will see you virtually next week. And always ask questions if you have them. We can also schedule time outside of office hours. So thank you. Bye. Have a good night.